This segment of DODTV is brought to you by Cold Steel. Anytime, anywhere.
Well, here's a story about a deer that we named Hemi a long time ago, and I doubt that Matt Drury realizes this, but it was a firearm season in 2018. He and Chris Comstock were hunting together. Matt shot a deer named Kevin, but they had an encounter with a deer, a 3.5-year-old that we thought had a lot of potential, or they did. And they said, man, if this deer, gets to reach his full potential, he may blow into something. Well, as time would go on, we kind of disregarded Hemi. We just had named him, but really didn't pay a lot of attention to him at 3.5. Then the early summer of 2019, Forrest was up here on the farm and started looking at some of the deer that were in and around the farm in velvet. He kind of watched this one particular deer that seemed to be very, very visible, if you will, during daylight hours, and he was actually out on a public road walking around like he was, in a park or something. And I don't know how he made it through that summer, but he certainly did. Forrest kind of babysat him and watched him a lot of evenings, trying to get as much footage of him as he could while he was in velvet. And there again, at age 4.5, we thought, man, oh man, this is a great looking buck. If he has a chance to make it, he could blow into something. That particular year, we too said, you know what, this deer has got some great potential. Let's just see what he'll do. And as the fall progressed or we got into the hunting season, we had an encounter or two with Hemi. One of them was an encounter that Forrest had. We were in the timber, and that particular morning, we saw Hemi kind of skirting through, going through the timber, just sunlight glistening off his horns. And once again, we said, you know what, this is a magnum deer. If he has any luck at all and he continues here on the farm, there's a really, really good chance he could blow into something.
Super cool encounter. That's the biggest deer we have on the farm. This deer we call Hemi 2. He's a big 4-year-old. Filmed him all summer in velvet. And that's the first time we've seen him this year. Really, really, really nice deer. So fingers crossed he can make it through gun season here, make it to next year. He's going to be a giant someday.
On that particular occasion, it just so happened that was the morning that Forrest shot Highbrow. We had a tremendous sit, got to see Hemi there in the timber, had Highbrow walked literally right under our stands. Forrest puts a couple of shots on him, and the rest is history, as they say, but killed one heck of a deer right there that morning in the timber. Once again, we continued hunting that fall, looking for several other deer that were fully mature, and sitting on a cut cornfield there on December the 8th, I do believe, had Joe Buck out in front of us and had a tremendous encounter with Hemi once again.
He's a really, really pretty 4.5-year-old deer, and we had elected to pass him early on this season. So he's one that gets the green light, and we'll let him see what he does next year. We're hoping he finds his sheds, hoping that he makes it through and he doesn't get shot. So we got a lot of hopes, but he's a good-looking deer. Just one that we're going to give a green light to and see if we can kill him next year.
And had a tremendous encounter with Hemi once again, standing there point blank, kind of posturing just a little bit, but a beautiful, beautiful encounter, and elected to harvest a doe and passed Hemi at that particular time. And I thought I could be kicking myself in the tail end at some point, but you got to pass them if you want them to grow and reach full potential. Going to a different spot on a cut cornfield on December the 30th, I do believe, and I'll be doggone who shows up. We had a tremendous sit. We saw a lot of bucks on that particular sit. It was that time of year where they start to yard back up just a little bit. And once again, we said, you know what, he gets the green light. We're going to let him go till next year. Hopefully he'll blow into something. We get through the fall into the spring of 2020, and Forrest picks up one side, picks up his 4.5-year-old shed, and we were like, okay, this deer is really, really nice. Great shed antler, and here it is. So you know, there's the little stickers and the flyers that we talk about, and we're pretty enthused. You know, this is one, if you want to pass a deer and you think they could reach a great potential, what a great buck to pass. So we get on through that spring and on into the summer months, and he wasn't out. He was one of those deer that we thought, you know what, if he did it last year, he should do it again, but he didn't. He stayed as a home boy. He started finding a little bit more of a home core area there. We had a lot of standing beans that year internally, and all of a sudden we started getting a bunch of reconyx pictures inside the farm, and it looked like his circle had tightened up a little bit between 4.5 and 5.5. But I'll be honest, he didn't blow into what we thought he might. So we thought, you know what? There's a real good chance if we pass him at 5.5, maybe he'll blow a little more at 6. He gets through the entire fall to our knowledge at age 5.5, but we really didn't hunt him like we could have. You know, we kind of avoided some of those areas where he was, and we were hunting in a lot of different areas. He had a home core area there that we didn't spend a lot of time in, so we really didn't lay an eyeball on him through his entire 5.5-year-old season until late season. Then had one of our good friends and team member, Zach Plale, who's been with us for many, many years, ever since he was a youngster, came up to help Forrest with some doe harvest. And on January the 11th, he had a tremendous encounter with Hemi at age 5.5. And we went, okay, he still looks really, really good, but we're gonna give him the green light once again, get him through these winter months. Hopefully he'll blow into something next year.
Here's to never missing a day of hunting camp. Because with DeerCast, you can take camp with you all season long. Get ahead of your game.
Here we go into the winter months and spring. We get through the fall, into the winter months, and then spring of 2021. Lo and behold, Forrest finds his 5.5-year-old shed. He had not done a heck of a lot between 4 and 5, but he picked up more mass. His stickers were a little longer, and we thought, okay, that was probably a good decision to give him the green light between 4 and 5. Now let's see what he does in 2021 here at age 6.5. We kept watching and kind of looking for him all year, and had bounced around in several of the spots where he had been frequenting, and continued getting photos of him through 21 and on into the fall. And this deer became very, very random. And all of a sudden we were kind of scratching our head trying to run into him, and had not laid an eyeball on him the entire season. As the season progressed, we went through the archery season on into the firearm season. No Hemi, just couldn't run into him. We had pictures of him, but just didn't, for whatever reason, for one reason or another, he was just avoiding us like the plague. As the archery season starts to wind down and the firearm seasons have passed, all of a sudden the alternative season moves in, the Muzz, and we started getting a bunch of pictures in and around Christmas, that holiday period, of Hemi walking in and out of a roadway, and he was doing it with regularity, 100%, 110%. This was all attributed to the reconyx cell cams. That information just kept coming forward day in and day out, watching Hemi walk in and out of this roadway between 4 and 4:30 every day. And I would not have sat there if we weren't getting that information. We watched, a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by, and he was still pretty much on that same pattern. It wasn't every day, but it was enough regularity during daylight. We said, you know what, we're gonna take a chance during the muzzleloader season, only we're gonna have an archery tackle in hand.
Bam! Doink! We're rushing around like some wild banshees. I am anyway. Just got back up here from the holiday break, and we're pretty excited to be back, to be quite honest. It was nice being home for a little bit, but I've got one deer in mind this evening. We'll see if he shows up. We're gonna go to a spot where this deer is 6.5 years old. His name is Hemi. Maybe tonight he'll show up. He's been coming out between 4 and 4:30. Pretty regular, one of the most regular deer on the farm, other than last night he came out at 3:15. So we could already be running late. I don't know, but we're gonna hurry.
Well, go to the blind with the V3X, because if he walks through here, he's gonna be point blank. This blind, we put it up earlier in the year, and we knew that it was in a pretty good spot. It wasn't the only deer that had been doing that. This has historically been a good spot. We had food in front of us there. They had eaten all the biologic that we had planted. Forrest did earlier in the year, planted biologic in the beans, but that was all pretty much gone, and there were still some standing beans left. And this time of year, waiting on that cold front, because we had been through some terribly warm weather the entire year, we thought we had a pretty good chance. We weren't there maybe 10 minutes, and a couple of does come out, and they come in shimmying right on past us there, and I thought, you know what, if Hemi does that, he's gonna be in some kind of trouble.
We're wearing the orange attire because we're hunting here in the muzzleloader season, or the alternative method, and I'm using the bow. I elected to use the Matthews tonight, but Forrest has got a tag as well. Neither one of us put our tag on a deer during the Missouri firearm season, so we both got tags here tonight. So we got the Traditions Nitro Fire, and we got the Matthews, so hopefully one of them will be close enough, and if not, Forrest has got the long downranged smoke pole. Hopefully somebody will pop tonight where we get an opportunity. Somebody will pop out.
Well, it wasn't long. We look up down at the end of the field. We start seeing a bachelor group of bucks pop out. And then, as luck would have it, it was rack after rack after rack back there at the end of the field. We thought, okay, it's now or never. If these deer do right and we don't screw it up, we're going to have a pretty good chance here.
It's a pretty good deer back there. Where? Behind him. He's back there around the corner. See that little one? Yeah. He's to the left of that one just a little bit.
No, he's walking up behind that deer.
No. That's Hemi right there, long and shorts with him. Okay. Let me do this. He's coming, ain't he? Yeah. You're gonna have to move out. He's coming right down the road.
Well, out of that entire group of racks, Hemi kind of takes the lead, other than one small buck, and on his horse he comes. He's going to walk within 15 or 20 yards of us, provided we don't mess it up. We should be in the catbird seat here.
60.
Still in the road.
Forrest is looking straight north, filming this beautiful, beautiful pre-roll of him walking in. This is really going to be the perfect hunt. Hold it right there. I come to full draw with the V3X. That little buck, that little 1.5-year-old buck who's standing right in front of us, bolts just a little bit. I don't know if he caught our wind or he caught me drawing. Irregardless, he bolts, locks him up right there at maybe 25, 30 yards. And I thought, all right, this deer is 6.5 years old. He's lived here all of his life. He's walked out this roadway 1,000,000 times. If I don't make a sound and we don't screw it up, he's probably going to walk right in front of us here. He, for whatever reason, decides to turn and walk away. So I have to sit up. Forrest is on him. I stand up, come to full draw, stop him right there.
Map. Map. Map.
I think I just saw him go down. I thought I heard him crash. He was quartering away pretty long.
Yeah, I hit him a little higher than I cared to. I put it back intentionally, but well, that's the deer we came in after. He's a really, really small-bodied deer, but he's got a pretty good rack on his head. 6.5-year-old deer. Ended up, I shot him at about 27, 28, but irregardless, I put it back intentionally, trying to get it up into the boiler room there, and I hit him a little higher than I cared to, but great deer. Couldn't have worked out any better. I mean, this deer has been the most regular deer, and we've got a ton of pictures of this particular deer. And I think I heard him crash over there. So we're gonna give it just a little bit of time. We'll watch the video again and see just exactly where it hit him. But I'm gonna say a quick little prayer, and hopefully we'll be able to get him. That's a good sign right there. There's a lot of blood right here. It could have very easily hit that artery.
I'm seeing a dead deer, buddy.
I see him.
Give me some.
How about it? Hemi is down.
How about it? Well, happiness is sitting behind a deer that you've been after for several years. This is a buck that we know all too well. We named him Hemi 3 or 4 years ago. He's a 6.5-year-old, fully mature whitetail here in Missouri. And we're hunting during the alternative season, or the late muzz, if you will, and shot him with a vertical, shot him with the V3X, coupled with the Rage 2.3 chisel, and the devastation is absolutely unbelievable. But all I can say is that we've had a tremendous season, and seeing these bucks all grouped up like that, here it is. You know, we had a Christmas holiday in there, went home, relaxed, spent some time with the family, enjoyed that, and then rushed back up here to try and catch this cold front. And by golly, it was a huge success. Just couldn't say enough about how well the season has went and how much fun we've had. Forrest and I have had a tremendous year, and what a way to close it out right here. Couldn't be happier.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of Deer Season 21 is brought to you by MOTV. For access to all our Drury Outdoors TV shows, head over to the MOTV app today.